Hello and welcome to TV Sapienta News Hour. On the news is Oluchi Ojobamidele. Started in transforming and sanitizing schools and colleges in Anambra State, the government has banned the use of miracle centers in conducting of external examinations. Disclosing this in a live program, the State Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chumaude, said that the existence of miracle centers encourages examination malpractices. She maintained that Anambra State has been leading in external examinations, cautioning health teachers and principals against sabotaging the efforts of the state government. Describing the free education policy of the Governor Soludo administration as part of the government's desire to give every student and pupil quality education, Professor Chumaude warned parents to desist from sending their children of school age to hawk during school hours. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured of his government's continuous support to the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies in the country in the area of fleet modernization, training and welfare of women and men of armed forces. He gave the assurance at the induction ceremony of two newly acquired Augusta 109S Tracker helicopters into the Nigerian Air Force, held at the Presidential Air Fleet of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, President Tinubu highlights the importance of a well-equipped military, not just in securing the nation, but also preserving its democracy. While commending the men and women in uniform for their sacrifices and commitment to protecting the territorial integrity of the nation, he pledged that his government will invest more in defense technologies, especially for the Air Force. Vice President Kashim Shettima has restated the federal government's commitment to improving access to ear, nose and throat healthcare services across Nigeria. Shettima called for urgent action to upgrade Nigeria's healthcare infrastructure with a specific focus on ear, nose and throat care to address the rising cases of hearing loss and shortage of specialized medical personnel in the field. The Vice President stated this on Thursday evening when he received a delegation from the Otorino-Laryngological Society of Nigeria led by its President Aliyu Mohammed Kodiya on a custom visit to the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Addressing the delegation, Shettima told the team that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is determined to tackle key challenges in the ear, nose and throat sector, including inadequate infrastructure, lack of equipment, and a growing wave of medical brain drain. Responding, the president of the society, Aliyu Kodiya, emphasized that government support would not only focus on acquiring equipment, but would also prioritize the training, welfare and retention of medical professionals in the field. Enugu State government has pledged to upgrade secondary health care facilities across its 17 local government areas to reduce maternal and newborn mortality. The pledge was made by the State Commissioner for Health, Professor Emmanuel Obi, during a meeting on the assessment of health facilities for comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care in Enugu on Friday. The meeting was held in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health Sector-Wide Approach (SWAP) program and JPEGO, an affiliate of Johns Hopkins University, USA. Professor Obi explained that the initiative aimed to ensure Enugu State have efficient secondary health care systems capable of providing emergency maternal and newborn care. He noted that the state had already commenced its own facility assessment, which would now be harmonized with the comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care assessments. The Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS, has hailed Nigeria's electronic mining cadastry plus system as a model for regional integration, transparency and digital transformation in the extractive industry. During a high-level visit to the mining cadastry office in Abuja on Friday, ECOWAS technical experts praised the country's web-based mineral title management platform, calling it an exemplary system that should be replicated across West Africa. Leader of the ECOWAS delegation and regional mining systems coordinator William Badio said Nigeria's progress in digitizing its mineral licensing system stands as a benchmark in the region. He added that the visit was part of efforts to finalize a second feasibility study for the establishment of a regional geo-extractive observatory and key distance system. Badio, who also coordinates the ECOWAS initiative on regional mining platforms, explained that their visit aimed to evaluate Nigeria's digital capacity and transparency framework as a foundation for a harmonized regional mining cadastry. He described the development as a key step towards full regional integration and cooperation in extractive governance. Chief Geologist at Nigeria's Ministry of Petroleum Resources and ECOWAS delegate Madofika expressed his surprise at the level of technological advancements witnessed during the tour, stressing that an unified digital system across the sub-region would significantly boost transparency, accountability, and investor confidence. A gas explosion at Nobel's fueling station, located opposite the Air Force Junction in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has left 5 people injured and destroyed 8 vehicles. It was gathered that the explosion occurred at the gas section of the state around 10 a.m. on Thursday and spread to the premises of the Ebonyi State Transport Corporation, situated next to the filling station where the 8 burnt vehicles were parked. Eyewitnesses at the scene confirmed that it took the combined efforts of the Rivers State Fire Service and the Nigerian Air Force Fire Service to extinguish the blaze. One of the victims, Emmanuel Niegu, a commercial driver whose 18-seater bus was destroyed in the fire and sustained an injury to his ear, said an ambulance from the Nigerian Air Force took the injured to the hospital. The supervisor of the Ebonyi State Transportation Corporation in Rivers State, Anthony Ofoke, said 2 of his vehicles were destroyed in what he described as a devastating event, appealing to the government to prevent filling stations from being established near residential areas. The Rivers State Police Public Relations Officer Grace Iringekoko, however, confirmed the incident. The All Progressives Congress APC South-East Zone has refuted claims that President Bola Tinubu endorsed the second-term bid of Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo during the president's recent visit to the state. According to the South-East Vice Chairman of the APC, Dr. Ijoma Arodiobu, Tinubu's visit to the state does not amount to Soludo's endorsements, saying the party is fully prepared to contest and win the forthcoming governorship election in the state. Dr. Arodiobu said the president was in Anambra to launch projects, most of which were initiated by previous administrations, adding that Soludo's allies made unsuccessful efforts to secure Tinubu's endorsement of the governor's re-election bid. He, however, expressed confidence that the APC is better positioned than ever to win in the state. Still, the federal government has commenced a revalidation exercise of the National Social Register as part of efforts to strengthen the ongoing conditional cash transfer program aimed at cushioning the impact of economic reforms. The Director General of the National Identity Management Commission, Abisoye Koka, who disclosed this at the recent press briefing held at the agency's headquarters in Abuja, said so far a total of 2.3 million households have been confirmed and cleared for payment under the renewed scheme. The revalidation exercise comes amid concerns raised by the World Bank over the slow implementation of the cash transfer program, which was launched in 2023, following the removal of petrol subsidy and unification of the foreign exchange market. In its latest Nigerian Development Updates report titled Building Momentum for Inclusive Growth, the Global Financial Institution noted that only 37% of the intended 15 million households, approximately 5.6 million, had received payments 2 years after the program was launched. The World Bank had approved a $800 million loan for the initiative, out of which $530 million had been disbursed as of April 30, 2025. However, Koka Odusoto, who is a member of the interagency task force overseeing the identity verification process for the program, stated that the revalidation was being carried out under the National Social Safety Net project to ensure that only eligible Nigerians benefit from the government's palliative initiative. She therefore showed that the federal government is currently conducting a revalidation exercise on the National Social Register under the National Social Safety Net so that they are able to carry out the payment. The International Society of Media and Public Health has concluded a 3-day training workshop for journalists in Kaduna State aimed at enhancing health reportage and closing the information gap between healthcare providers, stakeholders, and the public. Organized in collaboration with Engender Health, the Center for Communication and Social Impact, Reproductive, Maternal, Newborn, Child and Adolescent Health, and the Sector-Wide Approach Initiative, the workshop brought together media professionals from across the state to build capacity for evidence-based, impactful health journalism. Speaking, the Kaduna State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Omar Ahmed, underlined the media's critical role in shaping public perception and influencing behavior around health. She opined that many deaths among children under 5 are from preventable illness such as malaria, cholera, pneumonia, and diarrhea, and these can be curbed with timely access to care and proper public awareness. Dr. Anthony Shamang, a health system consultant representing the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, described the training as essential to ensuring inclusive and responsive healthcare in the state. He stressed that health policies often fail to gain traction due to poor communication, urging journalists to use their power to turn data and policy into stories and resonate with both the public and policy makers. Now to the foreign scene. The Mauritania former President Mohamed Abdel Aziz has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after a court ruled on appeals filed by both the state and his defense team. The ruling significantly increases the 5-year sentence handed down in December 2023. Aziz, who ruled the West African nation from 2008 to 2019 after seizing power in a coup, was found guilty of economic crimes, abuse of power, and money laundering, though he has consistently denied all allegations of corruption. His 2023 conviction was challenged by the state, which argued the sentence was too lenient, while his lawyers contended that only a High Court of Justice had the authority to try a former president. Plaintiff lawyer Ibrahim Ebeti, representing the Mauritania state, welcomed the outcome, saying that all the evidence has established that the former president, who single-handedly ruled the entire country, is the perpetrator of illicit enrichment, abuse of power, and money laundering. The Israeli military said it had launched extensive strikes as part of a fresh offensive in Gaza after rescuers reported 100 people killed in the besieged Palestinian territory. The army said on Telegram that the initial stages of the offensive, known as Operation Gideon's Chariot, had begun. It said the operation was part of the expansion of the battle in the Gaza Strip to achieve all the war's objectives, including the release of the abducted and the defeat of Hamas. In a separate statement in English, said the army was mobilizing troops to achieve operational control in the areas of the Gaza Strip. Gaza Civil Defense Agency said Israeli strikes on Gaza has killed 100 people on Friday, while the army said its forces have struck over 150 terror targets throughout the Gaza Strip in 24 hours. Israel resumed its military offensive in Gaza on March 18 after a 2-month truce in its war against Hamas, which was triggered by an attack by the Palestinian group in October 2023. The latest operation comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces pressure to lift a sweeping aid blockade on Gaza as NGOs warn of critical shortages of food, clean water, fuel, and medicines. Now to the world of sports. 28 years after the first Total Energies CAF Under-20 AFCON Continental Showdown in the final, Morocco and South Africa will meet once again in a repeat of the 1997 final when they clash on Sunday in the CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations title in Egypt. The 1997 encounter ended in a narrow 1-0 victory for Morocco, sealing their first and only CAF Under-20 AFCON crown. Now, nearly 3 decades later, the young Atlas Lions will be aiming to recapture that historic success, while South Africa are determined to turn the tables and claim their maiden continental titles at this level. Both teams punched their tickets to the final with gritty 1-0 wins on Thursday's semi-finals. With continental glory, pride and redemption at stake, the final is poised to deliver a captivating battle between the two nations with unfinished business on the CAF Under-20 AFCON stage. This seems a flash of the 1997 repeat final. Still on the world of sports, 16-year-old Yusuf Quadri has shocked the crowd by defeating top favorite Lanre Abdulrahman in the men's final of the IGP Open Squash Classics on Thursday in Lagos State. The epic 5-round action-packed game ended in favor of Quadri. Top seed Olatunji Jadesola also impressed, overpowering Modupe Faniyi in 4 sets to clinch the women's singles title. Assistant Commissioner of Police Abubakar Yakubu praised the event, calling it a showcase of squash excellence and a platform for youth development. Yakubu, who is also a police sports secretary, said the police are committed to nurturing young talents through structured competitions. President of the Nigerian Squash Federation, Boye Oyerinde, expressed delight at the competitiveness, especially among junior players. He thanked sponsors and emphasized the need for more events to help emerging players grow and shine nationally. And to end the news, here are the major news headlines. President Bola Tinubu has assured of his government's continued support to the Nigerian Air Force and other security agencies in the country in the area of fleet modernization, training and welfare of men and women of the armed forces. Mauritanian former President Mohamed Abdel Aziz has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after a court ruled on appeals filed by both the state and his defense team. This Sunday, Morocco and South Africa will be meeting in the CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations title in Egypt. And that was the TV Sapienza News at 1. On behalf of the technical and editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. Thank you for choosing TV Sapienza. Do have a beautiful weekend.